What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? How can simply believing be enough? And what if I told you that the only thing standing between you and success is who you decide to become? Have you ever felt like success always chooses someone else? That no matter how hard you try, money, happiness, and opportunities just never seem to come your way? Today, drawing from the teachings of Napoleon Hill and the power of the law of attraction, we're going to reveal how to change this game in a practical and proven way. You can't achieve something if you don't even know what it is. Think about that. Have you ever gotten into a car and started driving without knowing the destination? Of course not. But that's exactly what most people do with their lives. They wake up, work, pay bills, and survive, all without a clear direction. And then they wonder why success hasn't arrived. How can the universe give you something if even you don't know what you want? The truth is harsh. Success isn't for those who merely wish. It's for those who decide. Deciding is different from wishing. Wishing is passive. Deciding is a commitment. When you decide with absolute clarity what you want, something changes in your brain and your behavior. You start to see paths that seemed invisible before, because the brain, once it has a target, starts to work like a radar. It searches for opportunities, connections, shortcuts, and the most amazing thing, those opportunities were always there. The difference is that now you're ready to see them. But let's be honest, most people say they want to be rich. But what does that really mean? How much do you want to earn per month? What are you willing to give in exchange? What kind of life do you want to live with that money? How many hours a day do you want to work? Where do you want to live? Who do you want to be with? Do you see how saying "I want to be rich" is an empty phrase when it has no shape, color, smell, or number? Napoleon Hill experienced this firsthand. As a young man, Andrew Carnegie challenged him to interview the most successful men of that era and extract a philosophy of success. But there was one detail. He would have to do it for years without earning a single penny. Now think about it. Would you accept working for years without a salary, giving up comfort and security, and even being ridiculed for it? Hill accepted. Why? Because he had clarity. He knew exactly what he wanted: to study success, understand how it worked, and become one of the most influential men in the world. And he succeeded. Not by luck, but because his purpose was stronger than any excuse. And here's a hard question. What do you want with that level of intensity? If you can't answer that right now, that's okay. But it can't stay that way. Because as long as your vision is blurry, your actions will be too. Start with a simple practice. Write down in detail what you want to achieve in the next 12 months. Be specific. Don't write, "I want a better job." Write, "I want a leadership position in a technology company with a monthly salary of around 12,000 reais, flexible hours, and the option to work from home." That's a map, and the brain loves maps. According to a study from the Dominican University, people who write down their goals clearly have 42% greater chances of achieving them. This isn't magic, it's mental structure. You activate parts of your brain responsible for focus, memory, and decision-making. And here comes a common objection. But what if I don't know what I want? The answer is, start with the pain. What do you no longer want to experience? What kind of life fills you with anxiety, frustration, or stagnation? Use that as your starting point. Sometimes it's easier to see what hurts us than what inspires us. And once you remove what you don't want, you create space to discover what truly matters. Another crucial point: set a deadline, a goal without. A deadline is just a disguised wish. I want to write a book means nothing if there's no finish date. But I want to finish my book by December is a commitment. And commitment changes behavior. You might be thinking, but I'm afraid to commit. What if I fail? Let me tell you a hard truth. The failure of those who try is always smaller than the regret of those who never moved. You won't get everything right. But clarity of purpose is the first step to becoming someone who builds instead of merely surviving. Look around you. How many people do you know who live on autopilot? Who reach the end of the year exhausted, yet can't really say what they've built? That doesn't have to be your destiny. You can define what you want to live, and when you do it with conviction, your entire system, body, mind, behavior, starts working in favor of that vision. So today, right now, stop everything. Grab a piece of paper, write down your goal, include numbers, deadlines, and emotional reasons. Because it isn't enough to know the what. You need to understand the why. That's what will keep you going when fatigue, doubt, and comparison hit. And they will. But when you have clarity, you keep moving forward. This is the foundation of the law of attraction. It isn't about wishing and waiting. It's about wishing with clarity, acting with purpose, and moving each day as someone who has already decided. The universe doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to decision. If you've made it this far and felt like this message was meant for you, it isn't a coincidence. It's because you're ready. Now there's only one thing left. Decide. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe, and that might be one of the hardest truths to accept, because it takes control away from chance and puts it back in your hands. Have you noticed how some people seem to do everything right, yet still sabotage their own chances of success? They work hard, take courses, try to start a business, but something always goes wrong in the end. Is it really bad luck? Or could it be that deep down they believe they don't deserve to win? You might not see it, but your mind is constantly sending out signals, and the universe responds to those signals with mathematical precision. When you repeat inside that you're not good enough, that you're unlucky, or that you were born into the wrong family, you are literally programming your life to confirm those beliefs. It's like giving your brain instructions to look for proof of your own failure. And he finds it. Napoleon Hill noticed this pattern among hundreds of millionaires he interviewed. Their success began long before the money arrived. It started with an unshakable belief. I can. I deserve it. I will make it. And that belief was so strong that it shaped their decisions, their attitudes, and even the opportunities that showed up. The mind is like a thermostat. If yours is set to scarcity, it doesn't matter how many opportunities appear, you will unconsciously reject them or destroy them. How many times have you told yourself, this is too good to be true? And what if I told you that too good is actually normal for those who have already reprogrammed themselves to thrive? Hill went through this himself. During the years he spent writing Think and Grow Rich, he faced not only extreme financial hardship, but also a fierce inner battle. He came close to destroying his own manuscript, overwhelmed by doubt and the feeling of being a fraud. But in that moment, he did something powerful. He chose to believe. And that choice changed everything, because believing isn't a passive feeling. It's an act of rebellion against doubt. You can do the same, but to do that, you need to identify the beliefs that are sabotaging you. What are the phrases you silently repeat to yourself? I'm not capable. I'm lazy. I'll never get out of this life. Make a mental inventory. And here's a simple yet powerful practice. Replace each of those phrases with an empowering version. Instead of, I'll never get out of debt, say, I'm learning to prosper. Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I'm getting better every day. It may sound silly, but it isn't. Neuroscience studies show that positive affirmations, when repeated with intention, activate areas of the brain responsible for action and focus. You literally start to act like someone who believes, but maybe you're thinking, I can say 1,000 times that I'm capable, but I don't really feel it. And that's okay. At first, you won't feel it, because you're breaking a mental pattern that's been there for years, sometimes decades. It's like changing the course of a river. You'll face resistance, but if you keep going, a new path will form. And here's an interesting fact. According to the American Psychological Association, over 70% of people living below the poverty line have a negative self-image when it comes to money. They associate wealth with guilt, selfishness, or even betrayal of their values. That's not a coincidence. It's social conditioning. And you can break out of it by consciously choosing what you'll believe in from today forward. You don't need proof to start believing. You need to believe so you can start creating the proof. Every change starts within. Replace "what if it goes wrong" with "what if it goes right?" Tell yourself every day, success is inevitable for me. Not as a pretty phrase, but as a firm decision, a declaration of war against the old beliefs that keep you stuck. Visualizations before going to sleep. Be careful with what you watch, listen to, and read, because all of that feeds your mind. Surround yourself with voices that strengthen your greatness, not your limitations, because the outside world will only start to believe in you on the day you stop doubting yourself. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you truly believe. So the question is, what do you choose to believe in right now? Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. You, living the life you desire, the job of your dreams, the car, the house, the freedom, the right people around you. Can you feel it? Can you hear the sounds of that place? Can you see yourself there? Now the question is, how many times a day do you do this? Because the success you want doesn't start when it happens. It starts when you train your mind to accept it as real. Visualizing isn't just fantasizing, it's preparing the ground. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually live, and science proves it. In a study conducted by Harvard University, people who only visualized practicing the piano for several weeks activated almost the same brain areas as those who physically practiced. And what does that mean? It means your mind is already creating connections, habits, responses, and even sensations before the outside world reacts. That's why every day you need to set aside time to first live your victory within yourself. It's not enough to wish for a new reality. You need to experience it mentally, in rich detail. Feel the steering wheel of your new car. Smell your future home. Feel the excitement of seeing your bank account with the amount you've always dreamed of. The more vivid this image is, the more power it has. And this isn't an exaggeration. It's neuroplasticity. You're shaping your brain to act as if this were already true. And guess what happens when you believe something is already yours? You act with confidence. You stop negotiating with doubt. But here's a warning. Visualization doesn't replace taking action. It prepares, it inspires, it guides. But it doesn't walk the path for you. It's like looking at a city map before you leave home. The map shows you the way, but you're the one who drives. So every time you finish visualizing, ask yourself, what's the next step I can take right now with what I have? And then take that step. It might be small, it might seem insignificant, but that movement is what begins to build the bridge between your mind and your reality. Napoleon Hill talked about this long before science confirmed it. He shared that the most successful men he interviewed, like Henry Ford, Edison, and Graham Bell, all used some form of visualization. They saw themselves as ready, they saw themselves as prosperous, they saw themselves as accomplished, long before anyone else saw anything in them. And Hill himself practiced this too. In the darkest times of his life, when he was bankrupt, discredited, and without direction, he would lock himself in silence and vividly imagine the impact his book would have on the world. And years later, that very book, Think and Grow Rich, would touch millions of lives, including mine, perhaps yours, and so many others. And that was no coincidence, but through mental construction. Now you might be thinking, what if I imagine all of this and nothing happens? And I ask you, what do you lose by trying? What do you lose by starting the day filling yourself with possibilities instead of problems? Because what we see most often are people who begin the day already defeated. They picture themselves stuck in lines, caught in traffic, tired, frustrated, overwhelmed. And guess what? That's exactly what they end up living. You're using your mind to project tomorrow, whether you realize it or not. The difference is whether you do it consciously or unconsciously. Do you want to keep letting routine decide your fate, or are you going to take control of the movie that plays inside your mind every single day? Today, you can make that choice. Start tomorrow. Wake up, close your eyes for 5 minutes and see yourself winning. But see it intensely as if it were real. After that, do something that brings you closer to that vision. A phone call, an email, a note, a workout. Any action that reinforces your direction, and do it every day. Turn this practice into a ritual, because when your mind starts to believe, your body begins to respond, and the universe, it simply follows the command. Do you want to change your reality? Then start by creating a safe place for it inside your imagination. Because if you can't live success within yourself, you'll never be ready to live it on the outside. The life you want is on the frequency of the energy you emit. And if you haven't realized that yet, maybe that's why you keep asking yourself why things don't happen for you. Because when you wake up thinking about what's missing, what's wrong, what frustrates you, you're sending out exactly the vibration of scarcity. And scarcity recognizes your signature. Do you know someone who's always complaining about everything, who's always talking about what they don't have, what others have, and how unfair life is? That person lives surrounded by problems, right? And even when something good does happen, it quickly disappears. That's not bad luck, it's energy. The universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your vibration. And this is where one of the most underestimated yet most powerful principles of the law of attraction comes in: gratitude. When you feel genuine gratitude, not just saying it out loud, but truly feeling it deep inside, for small things like a warm cup of coffee, a friend who listened to you, the roof over your head, you completely change your emotional frequency. You move from lack mode into abundance mode. And abundance attracts more abundance. This isn't just theory, it's neuroscience. Studies conducted by the University of California showed that people who keep a gratitude journal have higher levels of optimism, sleep better, experience less physical pain, and are even more productive. Do you know what this means? Being grateful isn't just something nice, it's something strategic. Do you want to live better, earn more, have more focus? Start by giving thanks every day. But maybe you're thinking, how can I be grateful when everything is going wrong? And I understand, because Napoleon Hill went through that too. During the Great Depression, he lost almost everything. He was bankrupt, his family had fallen apart, and he even thought about giving up on his mission. But instead, he wrote a letter to himself where he listed everything good that still existed in his life. The fact that he was alive, the knowledge he had gathered, loyal friends, and the vision that still pulsed within him. And it was this practice of gratitude that reignited his energy and led him to write one of the deepest parts of his legacy. Gratitude pulled him out of the darkness. Can you see the power in that? Because while most people sink into despair when everything seems to fall apart, those who truly turn things around are the ones who manage to find a reason, no matter how small, to keep believing. And here's something important. Gratitude isn't about being complacent. It's not about closing your eyes to what's wrong. It's about opening your eyes to what still stands. Because when you focus on what already works, you strengthen your faith, and with faith you act, and with action, everything changes. Start now. Take a piece of paper or open the notes on your phone and write down 3 things you're grateful for today. They can be simple: a conversation that made you feel good, a moment of silence, even being here, listening to this and being aware that you want more out of life. That alone is a reason. And turn this into a habit. Before you go to sleep, remember 3 victories from your day. Before you get out of bed, think of 3 good things you have. And whenever you feel anger, fear, or frustration, pause and look for something, anything, to be grateful for. It's at that moment that your frequency changes. And when your frequency changes, your reality starts to bend in your favor. Because the universe doesn't respond to your suffering. It responds to your vibration. And if you vibrate gratitude, you begin to become a magnet for all those things that once seemed out of reach. The secret is understanding that gratitude isn't just a reaction to what went right. It's the trigger that makes things start to go right. You don't wait for life to be perfect to feel grateful. You feel grateful, and then life starts to align with that. Because the way you see the world completely changes the way the world responds to you. So before you complain about what's missing, try being thankful for what already exists, because maybe, just maybe, the universe is waiting for you to recognize what you have before giving you what you keep asking for. The universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your frequency. And your frequency is determined every day by your thoughts, your emotions, and most of all, your decisions. When you clearly define what you want, truly believe you deserve it, and act as if you're already on your way, the world starts to respond to you in a completely different way. Now, if this made sense to you, if something inside you shifted, then don't stop here. The next video showing on your screen is the next step in your growth. In it, you'll go even deeper into your mindset and learn how to become 1% better than you are right now. And believe me, 1% a day changes everything. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'll see you in the next video. Let's keep moving forward together on this journey.